Happy Sunday. Happy post Thanksgiving, Indigenous Peoples Day, everything that has gone on in the past couple of weeks, couple of days. It feels like it's been a month, depending upon what you may have been doing in your life. Last week could feel like a blur. I had hoped to join you last Sunday, um, before the holiday so we could prepare ourselves, but life started lifing. And so I'm grateful to be able to be here today, whether you are watching live on YouTube or Facebook, or whether you are watching the replay. My heart is filled with gratitude for your participation in this meditation that we do every Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. My name is Coach Yolanda. I am a spiritual life coach, third degree Reiki practitioner, birth doula, and a whole lot of other things that I enjoy through my business, Evolving Spirit Wellness, which is my baby. And I'm so grateful to be able to offer so many different healing services to so many different individuals. Whether you are a birthing person, whether you are a partner or family member of a birthing person, whether you are seeking energy healing for yourself or someone else, or spiritual life coaching. I'm grateful that I integrate all of those services and provide healing for people who are interested in loving themselves in a greater fashion so that they can give that love into the world because we certainly all need it. Part of what we do every Sunday is uplift one another. We talk about how we can clear our minds from the things that get into the way of us obtaining the things that we desire. Meditation is a great tool, it is a great ritual to engage in the practice of manifestation, of relaxation, and realigning yourself to your true self. And so today, we are going to be talking about sensuality. I was debating if we were going to delay this topic until next week, and it felt right to talk about it now because there are so many different definitions that we all hold when it comes to sensuality and what it means. What does it mean for you? For me, it goes beyond the definitions of the physical reality. So often, sensuality is paired with sexuality, and that can leave a lot of people feeling as though it's something that they don't want to explore for themselves. Any one of us can be a sensual being if that is what we desire. We have been given gifts, the gift of hearing, smelling, touching, feeling, tasting, seeing, all of those receptors that are in our body that process all of the information. How would you feel if you used those powers to increase the amount of joy and pleasure that you experience in your body? To me, that is the definition of sensuality. How can I increase the amount of pleasure, the amount of joy in the experiences, in the human interactions that I am having? And I am grateful to be a conduit for sensuality. Do I think that you can have sensuality without sexuality? Absolutely. Because all things happen in spirit before they manifest physically. And so to me, sensuality and spirituality are closely aligned. I want to experience joy. I want to experience pleasure as much as possible. I know that I'm going to experience other things in my life, but if I can make a conscious decision to increase the joy in my life through the information that I am processing, something that I'm doing consciously and unconsciously, if I can train my mind, train my body to align myself to increase my pleasure and the pleasure that I give to others, then why wouldn't I want to do that? Who wouldn't want to do that? And so that's what sensuality is for me and the focus of today's meditation. And so I want all of us, again, whether you're watching live or through a replay, I want us to start to expand our consciousness and expand our definition of what sensuality, what spirituality means for us in our life. If you are someone who absolutely knows that you can increase the joy in your life, why wouldn't you want to do that? And if you can use your senses to do that, why wouldn't you want to do that? Think about everything. If you have the ability to hear, and I know that we are all possessing different abilities, if you have the ability to hear, would you not want to fine tune your sense of hearing, to hear the pleasure in all experiences, to see joy in particular moments of things that you are processing? If you have the ability to smell, wouldn't you want the things that you are absolutely doing automatically to bring you pleasure, to bring you joy? Why wouldn't you want to seek and search and create and cultivate pleasurable touch and feeling and tasting and seeing? And it doesn't have to have a physical connotation. You can make choices. You can decide that the life that you are going to lead is going to have an air of sensuality about it. How you deal with other people, how you interact, whether it's with family, friends, or strangers, how you make them feel. Just your presence alone is pleasing to their eyes, pleasing to their senses. They just want to have you around. Now we are in the holiday season, and we are going to be around so many different people, whether we want to or not. If you are out there shopping, you're going to be around people. If you are gathering with your friends or your family, you're going to be around people. Maybe on your job, this is the time where you guys start having holiday parties. If you are going to be around people, don't you want them to be pleasurable experiences? Don't you want to experience joy in everything you do? Then you may need to look at your sensuality, how you feel about yourself, how you feel about the world that you live in. If you're caught up in all of the negativity, that will start to infect every experience that you have. And so some of the things that we can do to increase our sensuality, I'll go through some of them and then we will meditate on them. Loving yourself more. We talk about self-love, we talk about self-care, we talk about all of the things that we can do for ourselves. How sensual are you with you? Do you adore yourself? Do you take care of yourself in particular ways, which anyone paying attention would absolutely know that girl is in love with herself? And not in an arrogant way or a self-absorbed type of way, but taking great care of your body, making sure you have what you need before you get to a point where you're starving to get it. We talked about that this morning in the morning group, how we have formed this habit where we don't address things in our own body until they become an issue. And if we started to give our bodies what they need before it becomes an issue, then we won't be trying to play catch up. How many of us wait until we're starving before we feed ourselves? How many of us wait until we're dying of thirst to make sure that we're hydrating ourselves? If you start to take care of yourself in such a way where you don't go without, why would you want your body to go without what it needs? Waiting until you're dead tired to go to bed, and then sometimes you don't even make it to the bed. You fall asleep on the couch. What if you started to do the things for yourself now so that you don't have to wait for someone else to give it to you or until there is an issue in your body before you are willing to receive it? And so that's one of the ways that you can increase your sensuality. You are taking care of you in all areas. And remember, sensuality is beyond the physical. We're not talking just about sexuality, but we can talk about that if y'all want to. Sensuality is you loving you, you adoring you, you talking to yourself in sensual ways about how much you love looking in your own eyes, how much you adore your skin. When's the last time you got lost in just loving you instead of waiting for somebody else to come along and do it, because then you're starving for it and anything sounds good, feels good when you haven't had it for quite some time. So taking care of yourself is one of the ways in which you can increase the sensuality in your life. It's very attractive. I know for me, when I see someone that I know takes very good care of themselves, I'm instantly attracted. And so that's one way you can increase sensuality in your life. Again, creating habits that take care of you and not waiting until your body is screaming and saying, I'm starving, I'm hungry, feed me. Get up and feed yourself. Make it a regular habit that you are having great meals, planning out what you're going to eat instead of waiting to see what's left in the refrigerator that you can munch on, and then now you're having cereal for dinner. Just if you were, let's imagine that if you had someone you cared about, loved about, they were your all in all, and you wanted to take care of them, you should be taking care of yourself in that same manner. Planning out meals, planning out rest, and not waiting until your body is bone tired before you go to bed. Take your butt to bed at a regular time every day. That is a way to increase your sensuality. And let me tell you something, you are training your body to be well taken care of. My standards for myself are very high because I take care of myself very well. You cannot come along and come into my life and not take as good care of me as I care for myself. That is how you increase your sensuality, and you are able to attract individuals who also know what sensuality looks like, sounds like, feels like. We are a certain age. We are too old to be teaching people how to be sensual. Educate yourself. Doing things that are natural to you so that you're not reacting to things that are going on around you. It's just the way you flow. When you are attracted to someone, hopefully, you're attracted to them because they look like they got their life in order. It looks as if they, know how to respond instead of react to things. They seem to be in control. Sensual people are very in control of their emotions, in control of their thoughts, in control of their lives. And so for me, sensuality, pleasure, joy, it's so aligned with spirituality. When people say, well, I don't know if I'm spiritual, well, you must not be sensual either. Think about the way in which you process information. When someone is telling you a story, are you looking for the red flags, or are you looking for the joyful moments and looking for the love behind what people are saying? Are you always just mirrored down in negativity? It could be that you need to increase the sensuality in your life. Find the joy and the pleasure. Do you know that word can evoke so many different things for so many people? Good afternoon. Hello, love. How are you? I'm glad that you're enjoying the conversation. I forgot to mention the comment section is open. If you have a comment, question, or anything, please put it in the chat. We'll put it up on the screen, so be mindful of what you say. It can be seen by others. But when's the last time that you had a conversation with yourself about your sensuality? When's the last time you knew what you liked, what you didn't like? As we are aging, it changes from time to time. We may need to expand and mature the things that we are attracted to. The things that used to get it, when you were a teenager may not feel the same. And so are you cultivating the way in which you hear things? Has life just been so devastating to you that everything that you hear sounds like a complaint, sounds like, another thing you have to be responsible for? Are you able to hear love from others, or do you just hear negativity? Have you ever listened to yourself and the way that you speak to others? Do you catch yourself before you start on a tirade of negativity, and now you have infected the energy in the room? The way in which we respond to life is also the way in which we respond to ourselves. And I want, again, my life to be pleasurable. I hear that word sometimes said in different connotations, and I see people get uncomfortable with the word pleasure. It doesn't have to have a negative connotation, a dirty connotation, unless that's what you like, unless that's where you find joy. Why are we afraid of the word pleasure? Why are we afraid of creating pleasure? Why are we afraid of seeking pleasure? Why are we afraid of asking for pleasure and for joy in our lives? If it's something you want, why would you be ashamed to ask for it? Or maybe it's because it's so unfamiliar, you're not quite sure what it means. And that's why we are doing sensuality today, so that we can expand our consciousness and not just think of sensuality and sexuality. They're cousins. They're cousins. But that's not all sensuality is. I'm a sensual being. You're a sensual being. You have been given gifts, the gift of hearing, the gift of smelling and touching and feeling and tasting and seeing. And if you are interested in living a full life, you will employ all of those senses to increase the joy in your life. I want to see love wherever I go. But I know I have to train myself to do that, because for so long and for so often, all I saw was sadness for myself and for others. My expectations of life were not where I wanted them to be. And so I just got real complacent. Oh, well, if life is not giving me what I asked for, then I'm just going to stop dreaming. I'm going to stop hoping. I'm going to stop looking. I'm going to stop seeking, creating. Why would I do that when I have the power to create a pleasurable life? So that when those moments happen, those challenges happen, I can remember that this too shall pass. That this might just be a moment in time, and that joy is still possible for me. I'm never going to give up on love. I'm never going to give up on joy. I'm never going to give up on pleasure, and I'm never going to give up on me. And so as we get ready for meditation, as always, make sure that you are in a comfortable position. And if that word pleasure is uncomfortable for you, then you better get ready, because I'm going to say it a couple of times in this meditation, because I want that word to be so familiar to your ears that it is the first thing you think about when you wake up in the morning. How can I have a pleasurable day? How can I increase the joy in my life? How can I get out of here and just experience joy? How can I bring it? How can I receive it? How can I know when it is true? How can I know when it's not? I want to be so familiar with pleasure in my life that I know that I can't live without it. And that is how I feel right now. And I know for many of us, this year has been challenging. These past couple of years have been challenging. That increases my desire to create more pleasure in my life, because I recognize the sadness, when it's present, has the ability to take me under. And I've been there. Don't want to go back there. And so I'm going to fight for the pleasure in my life. So as we get ready for meditation, make sure you're comfortable. Make sure that if there is some restrictive clothing that you are wearing, you loosen it up. Make sure that wherever you are, you won't be interrupting anyone that is around you. And again, we are expanding our definition of pleasure. We are not going to limit it to sexuality. We're not going to exclude it either, but we're not going to limit the definition of sensuality to just a physical experience. We are going to think about it in terms of a spiritual experience, because I want all my experiences, all my human interactions, to have spirit within them. I don't want to do anything by chance. I don't want to just let life drag me to and fro. I want to be in full control of my human experiences. And so I am declaring that pleasure has to be at the top of the list. If I'm doing a job, I don't want to do it if it's not going to bring me joy. If I'm going somewhere, I don't want to go if it's not bringing me joy. We have to be very clear about the life that we want to lead and what we are willing to ask for, create, and cultivate. This is not something you do once and you think, oh, well, this is something that you have to do over and over and over. Make it a habit, make it a ritual so that it is a part of your life. And so let's take some deep breaths. Coming into this right now moment, which is one of the greatest aspects of creating sensuality in your life, being mindful of each moment, not living in the past, not racing to get to the future, but being where you are and finding pleasure where you are, finding joy. Gratitude and sensuality are also cousins. They're closely related because gratitude has to be a part of your pleasure. If you find pleasure in hurting or harming yourself or others, then I would invite you to take a look at what that is, where that started, and why it exists for you. Why is there a desire to inflict pain upon yourself or others just so that you can find a spark of joy? So as we are taking some deep breaths, I want you to empty out your mind, whatever you worried about, thinking about. If you are driving and listening to me, I would offer that you do this again on the replay. There are particular questions that I may pose, so that may invite you to watch this again so that you can answer them truthfully. In my work as a spiritual life coach, there is one phrase that I seek to eliminate from everyone's consciousness, and it's, I don't know. If I ask you a question about yourself, how you feel, I don't know, you do know. And so I would offer to everyone, we change our language from I don't know to I'm interested in figuring it out. I'd like to discover the answer to that. Because when you tell yourself, I don't know, that stays with you. Always, always be interested in who you are. And so as we are taking our deep breaths, we're checking our environment, we're coming into this right now moment, knowing who we are and what we desire. And I want you to be clear. If you desire more sensual experiences, then be okay with it. Declare it. Feel it in your body. The word pleasure. And if you feel so led to let your eyelids fall, that's okay too. It's not necessary to look at me, even though I did dress up for y'all. Take your deep breaths. Come into this moment. Think about the word pleasure and what it means to you. Perhaps in your history, the word pleasure has not had a positive place in your life. Perhaps you might be telling yourself, I don't know what that is. It's been so long. And that's why we're doing what we're doing right now. So that you can become familiar with what feels good. And as we are in this right now moment, calling for more pleasure, more joy, in our mind, in our body, and in our spirit. Let's be honest about one of our superpowers, the way in which we see ourselves. Think about your physical body. Are you pleased with the way you look? And tell yourself the truth. In this right now moment, are you pleased with the way you look? And if you are not, ask yourself why. What standard are you holding yourself up to? Do you have the expectation that you're going to look today the way you looked 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, when you have experienced so much in your life? Maybe life has literally come through your body. Maybe illness has been present before. Maybe it is present right now. How can you find ways to find kindness for yourself so that you're not fighting with your body, that you are more in harmony with the way in which you look and feel right now. Because loving yourself is loving your whole self, all the way down to your little pinky toe and to whatever strands are currently present on the top of your head and everything in between, everything about you, you should be madly in love with. And even if there are some things that you would like to change, it doesn't mean that you do not find yourself to be pleasing. It doesn't mean that you don't like what you see. You can say, you know what, I love the way that I look, I love the way that I feel, but I know that there is room for an improvement in the way that I feel. I want to be as young as my body will let me be. But as I am in this right now moment, I'm very pleased. And there are parts of me that I am so in love with that I don't have to wait for somebody else to tell me. I tell me every single day. Take a deep breath and tell yourself the truth. How do you feel about the way you look? What standard are you trying to uphold? What competition or comparison are you making? The you that you are got to this right now moment because of everything that you have experienced. If anything else was different, you would be different. And even if there are aspects of your life that are not pleasing, you still, as long as there is air in your lungs, you still have the ability to create more pleasure and more joy in your life. And so the things that you are hearing, the things that you are saying to yourself, let's make sure that they are more kinder, that you are gentle with you. If you want other people to be gentle with you, you need to be gentle with you. You want others to be kinder to you and more loving, you need to be more kinder and more loving to you, so that you are not waiting for anyone else to fill that space, to fill that gap. That is how you increase your sensuality. Because let me tell you, one of the most attractive things is someone who is in love with themselves. Not in an arrogant way, but in an I thank God that I am who I am. And I want you to join with me. That's one way to increase your sensuality. And what we are doing right now by meditating on that, being very honest and clear about how we feel about ourselves, what we're listening to. If you have anyone in your life right now who is not kind, who is not gentle, who is not showering you with love, you better ask yourself, why are they still in your life? If you want pleasure in your life and there is someone who is blocking or distracting you from that pleasure, why are they in your life? Take a deep breath and decide how much pleasure are you going to create for yourself and how much are you going to let other people disrupt. We can't afford to do that. We cannot afford to have anyone not be crazy about us. If you're not crazy about me, then I don't need you around me. If you don't absolutely think that I am the bee's knees because I do, then we don't agree on one essential component. That my sensuality is important. I have to maintain it. I have to create it, and I cannot have anyone, anything, any entity disrupt it. And so take a deep breath and think about the things that you are hearing, the messages, even if that message is not for you directly. If you are hearing things that sound like, oh, women of a certain age, or men of a certain age, or black women, black men, or black men aren't doing this, or black women aren't we don't need to listen to that. We don't need to engage in those conversations. We don't need to have it be present in our mental Rolodex. I'm way too grand and too great to be part of any of those kinds of conversations because I talk about pleasure. I talk about joy. I talk about love because that's what I want in my life. And so the way in which you meditate, which simply means the energy that you are creating for yourself, the mindful moments that you are taking for yourself. And don't wait until your body is screaming for something before you decide to answer. You know you need regular maintenance, and y'all know what I'm talking about. If you got an automobile and you know it's got to get its oil changed, you know the tires got to be rotated, you know you have to take care of your car for it to do what it needs to do and perform. You have to do the same thing for yourself. Eating well, sleeping well, hydrating, employing all of your senses. So many of us are so touch deprived. Yikes. When's the last time you held someone's hand? When's the last time you gave someone a hug? When's the last time you felt someone's skin next to your skin? Touch is one of our senses. Touch is an important component in sensuality because you process information. There's no reason, good reason why God gave us all of these receptors in our body for us not to use them. So come on. Make sure you have consent and that it's appropriate, but we need to start touching. We need to be held. We need to be held by people who love us. We need to hold people that we love. And it doesn't mean that it has to have a sexual connotation, but let's not dismiss the sexual needs that we all have. That is also a part. It's a part of sensuality. It's not the whole part. But good God, let's not leave it out. And you get to determine what that looks like for you. So let's take a deep breath and think about when is the last time that I had pleasurable touch as a part of my daily routine. Daily routine. I'm hugging people. And I know with COVID, we all were touch deprived. We got a lot to make up for. How often am I hugging people? How often am I holding hands? Tapping people on their shoulder? Rubbing people on their back? Going to get a massage? Going for a walk? That's also part of touch. You know, your feet hitting the pavement, your body moving to and fro. You feel that. Exercising, moving, dancing. Some of this stuff is free. And you don't even have to leave your home. But you need to move your body, and you need your bodies to be held. Do not deny yourself the privilege of appropriate moving and touching and feeling. Your body needs it. It's how we process information, and it's one of the ways in which we experience pleasure. How do you know what pleasure is if you are denying yourself any of your senses, whether it's hearing, smelling, tasting, seeing, touching, feeling? If you are denying yourself any of those things, your body can't do what it was designed to do, which is to process information appropriately. When you think about, take a deep breath, when you think about the last time you had a loving touch. Hello, beautiful. Happy Sunday to you too. Think about the last time you had a hug that was so good you didn't want to let go. And what it did for you. I don't know about y'all, but when I hug like my grandbaby, my kids, my entire body feels illuminated. It feels warm. That is my body saying to me, thank you for giving me what I need. We need to do that daily. And so touch is important. Hearing, we need to hear, I love you every single day, multiple times throughout the day. It may not always be, I love you. It could be, did you eat yet? Did you get home? Are you safe? Are you feeling okay? I see some of my loves in the place. I know they know how to invoke pleasure in other people. I hope that they are invoking pleasure for themselves. So, what you hear, the touch, the feeling, the smells, let me tell you, for those of you who just ran through Bath and Body Works or White Barn to grab up all those candles, you know how you feel when you are surrounded by pleasing scents. You know, this is the shopping time of year. Make sure you are surrounding yourself with pleasurable smells, whether it's food or candles or perfume or something that reminds you of someone you love. I had my grandbaby the other day and I smelled her little neck, and I just love the fact that she allows me to gush all over her. And I'm still trying to capture that newborn baby smell. She's a toddler now, but you know how familiar smells make you think of the people that you love. It is important because your olfactory senses go directly to the brain. And so we need to surround ourselves with pleasurable smells all the time. And for anyone that works in environments where it doesn't smell great, you know it affects your mood. It disrupts your ability to be joyful and happy when you are around things that don't smell well. So, make sure that that is something that you are doing every single day. And I have to talk about taste. My goodness gracious. So many of us have all somehow become chefs in the kitchen now that social media has made it acceptable for everybody to post their meals and what they're cooking. Everybody is a master chef all of a sudden. If your food does not taste well, then please find some that does. And explore. If you are eating the same thing all the time, how do you know what else may bring you pleasure if you're not willing to explore different tastes, different things? Life should not have a whole bunch of limits. Be adventurous. That's a very sensual quality, to be adventurous. Taste something new. You know that those type of people who eat the same thing every time they go to places, they don't deviate from their, very limited menu. I would also gather, unless there are some health restrictions, those individuals may have some issue with pleasure in their life and joy in their life. Even if I don't think that I'm going to like something, I'm willing to taste it. If I don't like it, then I don't ever have to try it again. But still being open to the adventure that life is giving you by expanding your palate and the things that you are willing to engage in, that is a very sensual thing. And I'm going to leave that at that. Be willing. Be willing. And certainly with your eyesight, what you're looking at. One of the greatest things that you can do for yourself is surround yourself with beautiful things. Things that are pleasing to your sight. And not necessarily just people. Things that you love. I'm looking at my plant babies over there. I get so excited the more that they grow. That is one way that you can put more pleasure in your life. Surround yourself with beautiful things and surround yourself with beautiful people. I discovered the other day that I don't know enough beautiful people. I know a lot of beautiful people and I want to know more. I want to meet more people. I want to be surrounded by things that are pleasing to my eyes. I love to see other people in love. Hell, I love to see myself in love. I want to be surrounded by loving individuals. And that will require that I love myself enough to be open to seeing how everyone else is loving on themselves. Let's all take a deep breath and think about, when's the last time you were surrounded by beauty? Hopefully, this past holiday, you took the time to just stop and think about your family and your friends that are present, and also pictures of those who are no longer here. If you are able to capture the smiles of individuals that you love and you can hold that in your heart, and those memories can bring you joy, that increases your desire to have more love in your life and to be more sensual. You know what it's like to create connection with someone, create intimacy, where it's not about the physical, it's about a spiritual experience where you get to be who you are with that person. You don't have to put on airs. They are just a pleasure to be around. Surround yourself with beautiful experiences by surrounding yourself with beautiful people and being willing to see the beauty in all things. And when I say beautiful people, I'm not talking about, they look this way or they look this way. I'm talking about the energy that people exhibit. It feels good to be in the company of loving individuals. It feels good to be around people that love you and support you. And the more that you afford yourself the opportunity to be around loving people, the more you want to be around loving people, and you're not isolated and alone. You're not hiding. So many of us are hiding in isolation by ourselves and not experiencing pleasure. And we may think that it takes a whole lot of money and a whole lot of stuff to do. It does not. So take a deep breath and think about, when is the last time I've surrounded myself with beautiful experiences, that I was willing to try something new? Because that's what sensuality is. Somewhere along the way, we took sensuality and we paired it up with sexuality. And for many of us, that is a challenge. We may not want to talk about our sexual being. We may not want to talk about our sexual selves. Hasn't been pleasurable for many of us. And again, I would offer that you take a look at why that is, so that you know yourself intimately, so that you afford yourself the ability to know other people intimately. You cannot have intimate connections if you are not intimately connected with yourself. And so my offer to you this week is to explore all of the ways in which you are sensual, which you are excited about what you see, what you hear, what you smell, what you taste, what you touch, what you feel. Get excited about life. Start to add adoration into every part of your day. If you see something you like, speak it. Be as appropriate as you can and speak it to yourself. If you happen to walk past a mirror and you see yourself, tell yourself, "Ooh, you look good today, girl." Stare at yourself in the mirror. Envision right now that you are on a platform with a light shining bright upon you, and you are taking a bird's eye view of you and thinking, "My goodness, how beautiful I am. How wonderful I look. I feel good," or "I'm on my way to feeling better." I'm taking care of myself well. I am creating habits that indicate how much I love myself. I'm eating well, I'm hydrating, I'm sleeping, I'm making sure I'm taking care of all of my needs. I will not go without. Lack is not a part of my vocabulary. I'm practicing my spiritual gifts. I'm meditating, I'm journaling. I'm doing what feels good for me and that invokes pleasure in all of my human interactions. I'm not going to start with the negativity. As we are taking deep breaths, let's tell ourselves this week, I am not going to start with negativity. I'm going to start with pleasure. I'm going to start with joy. Everything I see, everything I hear is going to be pleasing to my eyes, to my ears. And if it is a challenge for me to do so, I'm going to make note of it. I'm going to make note of it. If I find that it's hard for me to find pleasure in my life, I'm going to do a deep dive and I'm going to find out why. Why am I clinging on to sadness? Why am I clinging on to negativity? Why am I so hell-bent on not creating the life that I say that I want? And I am no longer going to affirm that I don't know. I am going to declare that I am willing to find out. I am willing to discover. I am willing to be open to finding more joy in my life. So that when those challenging moments happen, I feel more balanced. I feel more able to respond instead of reacting. So life is not dragging me by the ear, that I have life in my hands and I am speaking life into my own life. And I am directing the way in which my life unfolds. I love me. Now, if you don't love me, I'm going to ask why. Because I love me. I'm here to experience whatever God decides I need to experience. And if I can learn and create some wisdom and some joy and some pleasure along the way, then so be it. That is my focus. That is my intention. My intention is not to dismiss my sadness, but to meet it with joy. To say this does not have to be where we stop, where we end. We can expand into something greater. And if there are things in my life that I am not clear about, I'm going to go and return to the pleasurable experiences that I've already had and that I'm having currently to show and demonstrate that life still has more pleasure in it. I'm going to be excited about life. I'm going to be excited about what comes next. I'm going to be excited about who comes next into my life to experience all of this joy that I'm creating for myself and that I'm willing to share. And I'm going to be very clear about what is pleasing to me and what is not. And I'm going to maintain my healthy boundaries so that no one comes and disrupts the pleasure that I have created in my life. I'm going to be mindful about the information that I take into my headspace. I'm not going to surround myself with other people's negativity because I just want to know what's going on over there. That looks interesting. I'm too busy loving. I'm too busy creating pleasure. I'm too busy creating joy to be interested in anything negative. I'm not going to look at the world and think it's a horrible place. I'm going to think that this world has so much joy in it, and there are absolutely situations that bring about sadness, but I'm not going to lose hope. We have to decide what sensuality looks like in our lives. I don't have to wait for somebody else to tell me what it is. I get to create and define what it is for myself. And my sensuality is me loving you, me finding joy, creating joy, cultivating joy, expecting joy, demanding joy, deserving joy in every human interaction that I have. And if I am unable, because of someone being an unwilling participant, they are telling me everything that I need to know. I'm not going to fight anybody to create joy in their life if that's not their desire. But if you desire more joy and pleasure in your life, then I invite you to join me for more joyful conversations, more peaceful conversations, more ways in which we can increase pleasure in our life. I would offer that each of us write that word at the top of a page, pleasure, and then start to write down what that means for you, what it looks like, what you've always hoped and dreamed would give you pleasure. And then get about the business of creating it in your life. Don't forget to breathe deeply as you do all of these types of exercises, because that is also a connection to your brain, to your body, that this is what we're doing now. We are using our spiritual gifts to create more joy. This is it. This is what we're doing. We're going to meditate. We're going to take care of ourselves well. We're going to make sure that we are involved in human interactions that are also pleasurable. We're going to remove negativity from our life. We're not going to be silent about the things that are not pleasing. We are going to speak up and assert that this is important to us. And whatever negativity anybody else is on, sorry, not sorry. Please take that somewhere else. I don't know how many good days I got left, but I'm going to make sure that the ones that I have left are filled with joy. Because I have experienced other things in my life for far too long. And as you continue to breathe and think about, wow, this is what I'm doing this week. I'm really about to be a sensual master out here. People are going to be amazed at this transformation in my spirit, because I am declaring and decreeing that pleasure is important for me. It's not a dirty word. It's necessary. It is necessary as breathing for us to experience joy. It keeps the world turning. It keeps the blood pumping. And as I often say, when my life is over, I don't want anyone to say, too bad she didn't get to do this. Too bad she didn't get to do that. Too bad she, had a rough life. I want everyone to be like, if nothing else, she had a good time while she was here. She brought joy. She demanded joy. She created it wherever she went. And when you were around her, you couldn't do anything else except experience joy. I feel that when we join on Sundays. Giselle, thank you. And for those of you on Facebook or YouTube, even those in the replay, please leave me a comment so I can respond, so I can say thank you for making this a pleasurable experience. Because truth be told, I don't want to do this. I don't like being on camera. Look what I did for y'all. I went and bought a whole new microphone because I watched one of the meditations. I was like, I sound like Oscar the Grouch in the trash can. Let me get a clearer microphone. Because this brings me joy, and because of your comments and your responses, I continue. That's what we're supposed to do with one another. You tell me what you like, I tell you what I like, and then we meet somewhere in the middle. We have so much of other things going on in our world. If you have the opportunity to create joyful activities, please do it. Please, please do it. Please do it. We need it. The only way that we can combat or start to disrupt and neutralize that negativity that is existing in our world is by creating more pleasure, creating more joy. You do that for me, and I hope that I do that for you. Thank you, Giselle. I appreciate that. It keeps me going. It really, really does. And for many of us, joy is the fuel that we're missing. Well, we can't figure out, how come I don't have the energy to do this? How come I don't have the energy to do that? Part of your fuel system might need an injection of joy and pleasure. You might be leaving some stuff out. If you can't figure out, why don't I have the motivation to do some of the things that I want to do? Because they're probably not bringing you joy. How many of us are working at jobs that we don't really like, and then we're trying to figure out why our energy systems are so depleted, why we feel so sad? Even if you can't leave the place that you are in, please find something pleasurable or joyful about it. I'm grateful that even when I have worked in places that I didn't really like the work, I loved the people that I worked with, and they made it worth coming to work every single day. And so you might be the person that does that in your workplace. You might be the one that makes it a enjoyable experience for everyone else to be there. Hey, Miss Patty. I got your card, thank you. Patty Cates knows how to bring joy and cultivate joy in other people. That's my crazy card lady. And I love it. If you have the opportunity to create joy, please don't miss that opportunity. And we know that we do those kind of things not for the appreciation. We like to get the recognition. We like for people to say thank you. But do it because it makes your heart sing, and then watch how other people will follow your lead. Even when people are being nasty nice, and you know what I mean. People are being nasty, but they try to mask it as, something else. You meet them with your joy. You meet them with your elevated sense of pleasure. Knock it right out the box. I'm so grateful for the time that we get to share with each other on Sunday, even if it's just an hour. Sometimes it is enough to remind me on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday. What did I say I was going to do? Sunday, what did I say? Oh, I said I was going to create more pleasure and joy in my life. Let me get about the business of doing that. So I'm going to hold y'all to that, and I expect you to hold me to the same. That every experience, every interaction, I'm going to be looking for joy. I'm going to be looking for pleasure. I'm going to be mindful of what I'm hearing, what I'm seeing. I'm going to be mindful of opportunities that I have to grab someone's hand with consent, with consent. I'm going to ask, can I give you a hug? Can I hold your hand? Is it okay to touch you? The other day when my granddaughter was here, she touched my face. I can't remember the last time someone touched my face in such a loving way. Create those opportunities for yourself and for others. Let people know that you love them. Sensuality does not have to be limited to sexuality. But don't forget about that either, y'all. I shall, my dear, and I hope that you have a great and amazing and pleasure-filled and joy-infused week as well. And even if there are moments where you do not, Even if there are moments when you are not feeling your best, understand that you just created the ability to experience joy, and you can and will again. I love you guys. I love you guys. I love you guys. Thank you. I bet y'all thought this was going to be a dirty little secret that we were talking about sensuality. We may get there. We may get there. I don't want anybody kicking me off of Facebook or YouTube. But I am also looking to create some experiences for us to have conversations that we may not have been willing to have. Thank you, my dear. I appreciate it. And so, again, I always have to offer, if you want to have more conversations with me, on my website, there is a link to have some office time. My calendar is there. It's a complimentary service that I offer. We can talk for an hour about anything that you desire to talk about. Um, Again, that is my offer to the world. That is how I create joy for myself and for others. And so, if you ever want to have a conversation with me, go to my website. It's right, I'm always so bad at this. It's right there, yolandatool.com. There is an offer, there is a link there that has my calendar. Book some time with me. I'd like to talk to you more about sensuality. If you want to talk about sexuality, we can talk about that too. It's one of my favorite subjects, and anything else under the sun. But make sure that what we talk about is loving, and that you are loving yourself. And hopefully, by the time we end our conversation, just as when we end these meditation hours, you feel better about yourself. I love you. Have a blessed and great week. Increase the joy in your life just by being you and not by being anyone else. Have a good one, guys. I love you.